Hustling to me is delivery. You can hustle as much as you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't deliver, it really means nothing.
In a world obsessed with perfect stories and overnight successes, we forget that real journeys are built slowly, step by step, with intention. Today, we explore the hustle generation. We don't just spotlight the outcome, but show you what it actually takes to build something that lasts. Come join us as we uncover the grit behind entrepreneurship today. Welcome to another episode of Empowering Paths, Season 2 by Mashrik. Our guest today brings a story of reinvention, resilience, and purpose. After 2 decades in the comforts of the corporate world, her life took a dive into the uncertainty of entrepreneurship. But she persevered and built her business with discipline, care, and conviction. Through her experience, we explore what it truly means to hustle. Please welcome co-founder and CEO of the Saffron Souk, Fatima Qasim. Fatima, let's get behind the scenes.
Sure.
Tell us about the person behind the CEO.
So I was a corporate banker for over 20 years. I'm a mom, and I stepped into being the CEO of Saffron Souk after I was made redundant following COVID.
Wow. Okay, tell me about that situation there, the leap between the corporate world into entrepreneurship, because it's a scary thing for anyone to try and do, right? Especially when you have responsibilities like a family, kids, and that stuff, right?
True. It was scary. I think not knowing where the certainty of a paycheck would come from was difficult. But thankfully, the Saffron Souk was set up a few years before that. I was an investor.
Okay.
And then I moved into a leadership role. The business was running, so I was lucky like that. We did pivot, but I think whatever I learned during my career in banking helps me every day in the Saffron Souk.
I can imagine. I mean, it's a good place to start from, right?
No, it is. It gives you so much clarity of thinking. And I truly believe that the things I learned in banking, I use every day.
Yeah. For those who don't know, what is the Saffron Souk? Tell me more about the Saffron Souk itself.
So we started out as a marketplace to support artisans in the region.
Okay.
We then pivoted to a B2B business, which supplies artisanal corporate gifting, because we found there was a huge demand for the kind of products that we had, but from corporates. So we realized that was a big opportunity. And so now we focus on corporate gifting, which is a bit different from the norm. As well as building from that, we started a distribution business a couple of years ago, which supports sustainably made, ethically sourced products from all over the world into the region.
Okay. Now, is there anything specific in that because I wanna know more about who Fatima is. So I want to know more about, I mean, where does that fit in with this with the Saffron Souk? You as a person, and moving into that. So
when we started the Saffron Souk, I actually had personal motivation behind it, because I have a son. He will be 17 at the end of this month, and he is autistic.
Okay.
So I wanted a place where he could work and have purpose. So this was my initial idea with the Saffron Souk. And it was a tech business, and I thought it would be something that he could at least help with, if not be fully involved. Yeah. And then obviously, following on from that, I want to eventually have more people of determination working for the business, because I feel like, that's something that I need to do to give back.
So your intention came from something very personal to you.
Yeah.
How does it work because banking is not an easy job to do, and it's time consuming, right? How does it work when having an autistic son that take up a lot of attention, right?
Yeah.
So how did you balance the two between being the banker and being the mom at the same time?
You know, I was very lucky. I have a great support system. So I've got family around me. I've got amazing help. And he's a very, very loved boy. And now me working in the saffron souk, I have more flexibility.
Yes.
And I can, you know, I work very odd hours. But, you know, I can tailor my day to what he needs.
Yeah. Do you think that having a son with autism helped you in the business side of things when it comes to, again, like I was saying, the attention to detail and...
It does, in that products that we find and sell, they need to have a story, right? So there was a brand which was our first distribution brand. It's called the Jacksons, and the bags are made. They're designed in the UK. It's a British brand, and they are handmade in Bangladesh by marginalized women and autistic boys, right? So that was very. That really resonated with me when we chose the product. It's a great product, there's no doubt, but the story made a difference, right? And when I hear stories like this, those are the type of brands and companies I want to work with.
Yeah. I think now, especially, there's been a change with people on how they view products and things that they buy. People now kind of do want a story behind what they're buying, and they do want to know who's making it, as opposed to the big brands that are just a big name, right? And it's just like, well, who is it? Like, I have no idea who runs Gucci.
Exactly.
Or what his life is about. So when you can attach your personality to it, or somebody's personality has a story, I think that's a really great. I would rather own something that I know has a story as opposed to just paying my money for a brand name.
And I agree with you. And it is definitely a growing niche. So we focus on sustainability. That was always a goal for the business. So we align with we try and align with as many of the sustainable development goals from the UN that we can. Obviously, we're a small business. We don't adhere to all of them, but we try and, support marginalized communities, support a circular economy if we can, reduce carbon footprint, things like that. So it does make a difference to our consumers. The corporates that we deal with are very focused on sustainability.
Yeah.
Right. So that, and then obviously having the story is one aspect of sustainability.
Yeah, 100%. This is something that everybody goes through. What do you think most people get wrong about starting a business, and what's like the truth that nobody's really talking about?
I think a lot of people have great ideas, but at the end of the day, you need to have a plan to make that idea come to life. So I think a lot of people don't think about how they're going to make the idea come to life.
How they're going to action it.
Exactly. So, you need resources like money. Money is really important. You need to know how long you have runway for, right? So your business, if you're very, very lucky, it'll start making money day one. But generally, there is a period of time where you won't be able to make expenses, right? You need to have runway, which means either you have to have your own money,
investor capital,
investors, friends and family, angel. You need to think about that, right? And I think just knowing the basics, like the law in the country that you operate in, there's tax regulation here. You need to know all these things, and people don't even know how to set up companies, right? And I know so many people who've gone to these, you need to, before you go to an advisor, you need to know what you need, right? So you can't just rely on what people say to you. You need to do the research. You need to understand what is the best fit for you.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I totally agree. I mean, even myself, when I started this business that I'm doing, I was like, great, let's make some money. And then I started getting emails, and there was like, pay this, pay that. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
sorry? Corporate what? Sorry? I have to do, and especially when you're starting it alone, it can be so daunting, right?
Yeah.
You have so much responsibility that you never had before.
True.
And all of a sudden now you either need a team or lawyers or everything just to kind of get you through everything. What's the biggest challenge that you experienced when setting up?
Setting up,
or in general, just like something, is there anything that comes to mind that you were like, wow, this was
I think when we first set up the Saffron Souk, I think we were a little bit naive about marketing. And I think a lot of people, even now, like, don't really understand that if you invest in marketing, digital marketing, social media, whatever, the returns aren't like they used to be 5 years ago. So that was a big challenge for us. And it was a big shock, right? Because you're trying, you tweak things, you change things, and it still doesn't work. So that was a big, big challenge. But that's why we pivoted to the corporate gifting side of it, because the marketing there is more relationship driven. It's more word of mouth. It's, related. You once you deliver, customers come back, right? It's not like you have to continuously market to them and find a new pool of customers. Yeah.
And I guess it's easier as well in corporate because, corporate is such a big thing. So, right. So if a corporation's getting gifts for the company, they're buying hundreds of them as opposed to just one person saying, I'll take a bag.
True. I mean, that being said, we've done one-offs for clients, for, like a VIP
galas or
like a VIP gift, which is a one-off. But they tend to order a lot. But again, everybody has budgets. So it's still challenging, even though you have your clients, because it depends on the budgets they have.
If you had to make a list, the magic list of what people need to know or do before starting a business, what would that list look like?
Number one is a plan. You can't just have a great idea. You need to know how to get it out there, how to execute it, how to actually turn it into a business. Number two is money. Number three, I would say experience. You need to have some sort of working experience, because I feel like working experience gives you discipline, right? If you've never worked anywhere, you don't understand time management. There's some key things that you learn by working in organizations. Small, big, doesn't matter. But there's certain things like deliverables that you learn when you're
KPIs
working.
And
exactly. Yeah. So those are the things that I think that people need to understand. And the last thing is, it's really hard work. It's not just, being the CEO or the founder of the company. Like, it means like, I'm packing orders myself. I deliver orders. This being the CEO really means nothing. Right? You actually need to roll up your sleeves and do it.
Yeah. What about when people have a dream? Because or they see the vision, but no one else does, right? Because I remember even when I started my podcast, I said to my wife, I was like, this is going to seem weird to you, but it's going to take 5 years and then we're going to be sorted. Yeah. So I had kind of put something out there. It's like, wait 5 years and my idea is going to come true. So when people have that kind of, vision or that kind of entrepreneurship, a lot of people have ideas, but other people around them might not get it, but they know exactly the route that it's going to take and how long it's going to take, right? What do you recommend to those kind of people? So
from what you've said to me, you had a plan, right? You knew, you thought about it, you understood that there's a period of time where it might be difficult, right? You need to have patience. Things don't happen overnight, right? And it's a lot of hard work and grafting, to get there. It's so you need to, and even if people don't believe in your idea, if you have conviction, you have a plan, you understand, you've done like a proper, I'm not just talking about, back of the envelope. I'm talking about like a proper plan to get the business going. I don't see why you shouldn't do it, because passion is very, very important in a small business or a startup, because if you don't have the passion, you're just not going to keep
that drive
going.
And you don't have anything that,
and when it gets hard, you'll just stop.
And I suppose that kind of is what happens in 9 to 5s, right? Because people aren't attached personally to the company, right? So they just turn up for work, they do what needs to be done, and there's no personal attachment to it. So when you do start your own thing, it's kind of make or break, right? So you put everything on the line there.
Yeah, you do it for yourself, right? Like all the energy you put into working or whatever. I'm not saying, I was a career banker. It was, my life, right? And I put as much into it as I do into the Saffron Souk, right? But at the end of the day, this is mine, right? and the energy that I put in is actually going to give something back to me.
You. Yeah.
Right?
Is there anything that you could say that has changed in how you see yourself in both roles as a person, you know? Is it a different Fatima that was the banker and that is the CEO of the Saffron Souk?
I think the biggest thing for me was that I get to develop the creative side of my personality, right? Banking is very structured, numbers driven, Excel sheets, systems, whatever. But I always had an obsession with design, right? And so now I can actually develop that. And the brands that we work with, they're great. They teach us stuff. We develop product with them. So it's really, for me, it's like developing the creative juices of mine that was there, but I never got to really do anything with it.
Now you're free to actually live the idea. Is there anything that you would say is really overlooked when starting a business, and maybe now this far into it you're like, how do people not know this? But is there anything that is surprising to you that people overlook that?
I think you need to get the right partners, the right systems. So for us, that meant, people like our lawyers, people like Mashrik, Neobiz, people who incorporated our companies, my structure. I think you need to really get the right partners, and that I don't think people think enough about that, because at the end of the day, if you have a partner that is not adding value to you, it's just taking away from your time, your resources. So that's very, very important.
Fatima, it's 2026. Anybody with an Instagram account is a hustler. To you, what's the true definition of a hustler?
Hustling to me is delivery, hustle doesn't really mean anything unless you achieve something, right? So it's the delivery of what you're trying to achieve, right? You can hustle as much as you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't deliver, it really means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a tagline under
the name, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody says they're a hustler.
That's right? What I mean.
Yeah. But very few people deliver. So I think if you are calling yourself that, you really need to show what the hustle is towards, right? Or what you're trying to achieve by doing that. It just can't be in the air. That's what it means to me.
100%. If you're going to hire someone now, and you're looking for a hustler, what qualities would they have?
Look, I'll be very frank. I run my business like a bank because that's what I was trained to do, right? So for me, if I need somebody who's a hustler, it means somebody who's getting me new business. That's what it means to me, because that is the delivery I need. And if you have somebody with that personality, I'm sure that's something they could deliver.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Behind us is a wall of resilience, objects that played a defining role in Fatima's journey. Each one marks a chapter, and together they tell us the story of how she turned the impossible into a journey of hope and inspiration. So the newspaper clipping, what does that mean to you?
That was one of the first articles that was published about the Jacksons, which I mentioned earlier. It was when we first started distributing the brand, and it just explains what the brand is about. And that was very important to me, so people understand.
Nice. Tell me about the artisan sculpture that you have there.
That is a product that is produced in Peru, handmade by artisans, where they're trying to revive crafts that are being lost.
Amazing.
So that is that's a line of products we use in our corporate gifting business.
Nice. So I recognize the Tarbush tail there. Tell me a little bit more about that and what it means.
So the Tarbush tails is made by Bedouin women out of Abu Dhabi in conjunction with Al Gadir. They're supported by the Red Crescent, and it's to revive artisan craftsmanship out of the UAE.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that beautiful photo of you and your son, what kind of emotions does that bring up when you look at it?
It's joy, honestly, pure joy. He is really my life, you know. After he was born, I realized that he is my purpose. Yeah, that's my favorite picture of us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Fatima, let's switch it up. This is the Rise Up round. No long answers, no deep dives, just your gut, your instinct, your truth. One word, one short phrase. Are you ready?
Sure.
Let's go. One word to describe entrepreneurship.
Commitment.
To hustle is to?
Deliver.
A word to describe Fatima, the corporate banker.
Workaholic.
A word to describe Fatima, the CEO.
Workaholic.
What keeps you going when it gets hard?
A sense of personal achievement.
A goal you aspire to reach.
To build a sustainable and purpose-driven business.
A habit that keeps you going.
Coffee.
Coffee, that's a great one. A tool that helps you run the saffron souk.
Neobiz.
Someone who inspires you.
Louise Jackson, which is the founder of the Jacksons, which I mentioned.
Something that helps you rise every day.
Responsibility.
So, how do you stay on top of your game with so much to do and so much to get done?
I have, like I said, great tools that I work with. NeoBiz being one of them. It really helps me monitor money. Cash flow is really, really important. And that is something I look at every day, multiple times a day sometimes, yeah.
So in a market that is saturated with industry giants, how do you go the extra mile? What makes you stand out at Saffron Souk?
So I think what differentiates us is our service. So I think we stand out with the way we curate for clients. Every brief is curated for specifically. No two curations are the same. So it's a very personalized service that we offer. The other thing is the services we provide. My team is available 24 hours a day, as I am. There's, very honestly, I do things from packing orders, delivering orders, pitching for new business. It's everything. And like I said, it's 24/7.
So what's the ultimate reason behind why you do what you do today?
My son. I am a single parent. I am responsible for him. I need to, in my little way, create a world that I want him to live in, where there is purpose behind things we do, and he can have some sort of fulfilling role in it.
How does being a parent of a child on the spectrum change your outlook on life?
When Noah was first diagnosed, my doctor said to me, it's not a battle, it's a war. And that is how I look at life now. Like it's the long game. It is not instant gratification. You need to take a long view and work towards that.
Before we close, we ask every guest to leave behind a mark, not just for the audience watching today, but for anyone who may one day need these words. Fatima, it's time to make a mark. What would you say to somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur today?
I would say do your research, talk to people, make sure you have everything, all the resources you need to make your business a success.
That's a great answer. It's time to get signing. The The hustle generation is a term we throw around, but today, Fatima gave it a definition. One built on discipline over passion, on purpose over aesthetics, and on the quiet decision to keep going even when nothing is guaranteed. Through the saffron souk, she turned uncertainty into ownership, service into strategy, and purpose into a business that creates space for others to rise. Her journey is proof that the most meaningful things are rarely built overnight. This was Empowering Paths Season 2 by Mashrik. From her journey to yours, empowering you to rise every day.